Hello learners! My name is Sir Joms. And welcome sa aking tutorial channel. Please like, subscribe and hit the notification bell para sa mga susunod pang lesson video.
Welcome to the Science 6 lesson video on simple machines. This lesson video was designed to provide you with fun and meaningful opportunities for guided and independent learning at your own pace and time. This lesson will focus simple machines. After going through this lesson video, you are expected to 1. Define and describe the types of simple machines, 2. Classify the different kinds of simple machines, and 3. Apply practical and safe use of simple machines. Before we start, let's have a recap in our previous lesson. You have learned that energy can be transformed and can form new type or form of energy. Now, let us try to do a simple activity to help you recall your past lesson. Ready? Identify the transformation of energy shown in the screen. It is good to know that you really learned a lot from your previous lesson. I know you are excited to learn the lesson. Simple machine. Simple machines are devices or tools that facilitate or make work easier. These machines can transform and transfer energy, multiply a speed or a force, and change the direction of the force to make work easier. The following are the kinds of simple machines: inclined plane, lever, wedge, screw, pulley, and wheel and axle. The basic purpose for which most simple machines are designed is to reduce the effort, force, required to perform a simple task. There are 6 types of simple machine. 1.
Inclined plane. We use a lot of simple machines to move heavy loads from one point to another. One of them is an inclined plane. An inclined plane is a ramp that assists moving heavy objects up and down heights. It is a plane surface set at an angle, other than a right angle, against a horizontal surface. If Dakin here wants to lift and place this barrel on a edge, it is a bit difficult. With the help of an inclined plane, Dakin can now roll the same mass up a slipping surface, with much lesser effort. This is because the force required to raise an object at a distance is greatly reduced by increasing the distance over which the force must be applied. So, the mechanical advantage is the more the distance to be covered, the lesser the force needed to move the load to the raised height. Two. Lever. The lever is one of the most basic forms of a machine. They help us lift loads with lesser effort. Even though this looks simply, there are many things going on in order to lift the object easily. A lever can be described as a long rigid body with fulcrum along its length. We use levers in so many of our day-to-day activities. They are classified into 3 categories depending on the relative position of the load, fulcrum and force. There are 3 classes of lever. The first class lever, where the pivot is in between the effort and the load. The second class lever, where the load is between the fulcrum and the effort. The third class lever, where the effort is between the fulcrum and the load. 3. Wedge. The wedge is the active twin of the inclined plane and one of the 6 classical simple machines. Unlike an inclined plane, which is stationary, a wedge does useful work by moving. A wedge is made up of 2 inclined planes. These planes meet and form a sharp edge. For a wedge, the effort force is applied to the vertical edge, height, of the wedge. We often see a wedge being used for many things. To separate portions of an object. To lift a heavy load. To hold an object in place and avoid it from moving. The force yielded from the wedge is inversely proportional to the inclined angle. That means, if the inclined angle is small, the wedge yields a larger force and may do the job faster than the wedge with a wider angle. 4. Door screw is one of the most commonly used mechanical devices in the world. It is a machine that converts rotational motion into linear motion. A screw has a long and thin metal shaft with threads spiraling along its length. It also had a turning head with a groove where a screwdriver can be used to rotate the screw. The strength of a screw's hold depends on the width of the threads and the distance between them. The closer and wider the threads, the stronger the hold will be. However, more threads require more rotations to attach the screw and wider threads require more force on the rotations. The mechanical advantage of the screw increases when the angle of the spiral increases. The screw has become an integral part of the mechanical age. It can be used to hold things together, lift heavy loads, drill holes on objects, Five. Pulley. Sometimes, it's easy to lift heavy objects with only human force. This problem can be fixed with the help of simple machine like a pulley. A basic pulley comprised of a wheel on a fixed axle, with a groove along the edges to guide a rope or cable. Where load is the weight of an object and effort is the amount of force required to lift or move this object. When you put two or more wheels together, and run a rope around them, you have created a great lifting machine. As you add more pulleys, you increase your mechanical advantage and it becomes very easy to lift the same load. The trade-off is that as you increase the number of pulleys, you require a greater amount of rope to achieve the same result. Hence, by decreasing the effort needed to lift the load, you have to apply the force for a longer period of time. 6. Wheel and axle. When we have to move a real heavy load, we have to use a great deal of force to push it, because of friction. force resisting the motion of the object on the ground. Gravitational force, force that pulls the object to the ground. The wheel and axle solves this problem in a jiffy. In this simple machine, a wheel is locked to a central axle and they rotate each other when a force is applied on either one of them. When we place a heavy load on the axle and push it, the rolling of the wheels reduces the friction to a large extent. However, the frictional force does not depend on the surface area of the object. When there is a less friction, it takes less force to move something. The effort needed to overcome the resistance acting upon the axle is relatively small. We see the wheel and axle set up in many of our day-to-day activities. A longer motion at the edge of the wheel is converted to a shorter, more powerful motion at the axle. In reverse, a short, powerful force at the axle will move the wheel's edge at a greater distance.
Now that we know what is simple machine, the 6 types of simple machine and their examples, let's have our first activity, simple machine at work. Directions: identify the type of simple machine that can be used in the given situations. One. Opening a can of goods. 2. Digging soil. 3. Raising a flag. 4. Chopping a wood. 5. Using a stair. 'Let's try another one. Activity number 2. Picture me out. Directions: identify the kind of simple machine. Wrap up. What did you learn? In this lesson, we learned that simple machines are tools that have very simple structure and that make our work easier and faster. A lever is a rigid rod that can move freely around a fixed point. A wheel and axle consist of a wheel attached to a rod called axle. When the axle is turned, the wheel also moves. An inclined plane is a slope. Less effort needed to move an object up through an inclined plane as compared to lifting it up straight. A screw is an inclined plane wound around the rod to form a spiral. It helps to hold things tightly. A wedge has two inclined planes put together to form a sharp thin edge. A pulley is wheel with a groove rim so that a rope or chain can run around it. Here are some rules for safety in using simple machine. Always keep machines in their proper places, like a toolbox, when not in use. Always have your car or bicycle wheels checked to make sure that they are safely and securely fastened to the axe. When lifting objects using a pulley, make sure that rope is strong enough to carry the load. Do not play with sharp, simple machines to avoid getting hurt. Make sure that you know how to use a simple machine properly. Check if the simple machines is in good working condition. Post-test. Get a paper and pen and try to answer the following questions. We will check them on the next lesson video. Directions: choose the letter of the best answer. One. What mechanical device is used to change the direction or the magnitude of force? A. Inclined plane. B. Wheel and axle. C. Simple machine. D. Energy transformation. Two. The following are the importance of simple machines except: A. They lessen the time to work. B. They make work easier. C. They make work faster. D. They are expensive. Three. What is the best simple machine to use in cutting vegetables? A. Pulley. B. Wedge. C. Inclined plane. D. Wheel and axle. Four. Drill, bolt, light bulb and faucet are examples of: A. Lever. B. Screw. C. Wedge. D. Inclined plane. Five. Which type of simple machine would make it easiest to move a heavy object from the ground to a higher part of the house? A. Lever. B. Pulley. C. Screw. D. Wedge.
That's all for this lesson. Sana ay marami kayong natutunan. Leave comment below for your suggestions. Like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Again, I'm Sir Joms. Thank you for watching. Stay home, stay safe. Peace.